Okay, so we've gone over slope-intercept form, we've gone over point-slope form, and actually I'm going to write them all on the board just so we have them. And so we're going to go over our last one, which is what we call standard form. And, you know, I don't know, when I'm doing this stuff, I'm like, why do we have to have 3 forms of something, right? When it all really gives us the same thing. There is a reason. They each kind of have things that they give us easily versus the other ones. So slope-intercept, well, it gives us the slope and the y-intercept. So it's nice because it gives us like a starting value where it's on the y-axis. When 0, we have some y value. Point-slope form is nice because we actually have a point. It's kind of not as specific. Sometimes we could have any point in there, but it's easy to graph. So standard form, its cool thing is that it easily gives us the x and y intercepts. And I know you guys, oh man, I've got like this crick in my neck. I'm feeling very old lady-ish today with this. I know you know what the x-intercepts are. I want you guys to just remind yourselves that it is some x value, but y is 0. And for our y-intercept, we have x is 0 and we have some y value. Because even though we know that it's where it crosses the x-axis and where it crosses the y-axis, we sometimes forget that 0 is involved in this, okay? So our standard form setup, our equation for this is ax plus by equals c. And we are using capital letters in this because we've got a lot of like regular numbers. The a, the b, and the c are numbers, and our x's and y's are the variables, okay? So let me just write this on the board real fast. So standard form. It's also, standard form is kind of nice because we can take our 2 variables and have it equal to a total. And that you'll see that when we do the story problems. All right, so for this, I'm going to say the downside of standard form is when we don't have whole numbers, but I'm always going to be really nice to you guys and have this turn out to be nice numbers, or at least most of the time. I think there's like 1 or 2 on your assignment that don't, but so for example A, part A here, I want to find the x and y intercept. So going back actually to the reason that I had you guys write down that the x-intercept is when we have some value for x but y is 0, we're going to use that down here to find the x and y-intercept. So if I want to find the x-intercept, that means that 0 is going to be the y value. Like it has to be. That is literally the meaning of an x-intercept is when y is 0, we have some x, okay? And this is for the x-intercept. I did not leave a lot of room on this, and I apologize for that, but I think you guys can squeeze it in there. So what happens is, well, what's 2 times 0? Yeah, it just like kind of just goes away. And so we end up getting 4x equals -8. Can I find x now? Yeah, right? Yeah, I can divide by 4. So my x-intercept, I'll go back to purple, x equals -2. So that means if I ask for it, ooh, that's real tiny. I have a point at -2, 0. And I could put that on my graph, I could put that on my x-axis, and we're good. So again, I put 0 in for y to find my x. So vice versa, if I want to find my y-intercept, I would put 0 in for x and I would find my y. So 4, 0, 2y equals -8. This is for my y-intercept. So what happens? What am I going to get?
You're going to get -2, and then it's going to be -2, -4.
Ooh, close. I'm going to have 0 involved in it. So I'm going to get my 2y equals -8.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You're going to divide, you're going to get -2.
Yeah. So I'm going to, well, -4.
-4.
Yeah. So I'll get 0, -4 for my y. So I'm showing you that's like the long way is what I'm going to call it. I want to show you guys the shorter way, and the way, honestly, I would prefer you guys to do it because it's just is a lot easier. If we know you're going to plug 0 in and it's going to disappear, why even write it down, right? So I call this the cover-up method. It's really technical. I literally cover up the y, and I get 4x equals -8, and I solve it, and I get -2. If I want to find the y, I cover up the x, I do -8 divided by 2, and I get -4. So if I go over here to example B, if I want to find my x-intercept, I'm going to cover up my -6. So what would I get for x? Exactly, -4, because 12 divided by -3 is -4. For my y-intercept, I cover up my x. What's my y going to be? -2, exactly. So guys, so this was actually like really fast to solve if you kind of do it that way. So just to have something written down over here. So if I make the y go away, I just quickly get x equals 12. Sorry, -3x equals 12. I divide, and you guys can do that in your head. So you get -4 for my x-intercept. Then we make the x disappear, so I get -6y equals 12. I divide, so y equals -2. Okay? So just ignoring one of the variables works really easily. Okay? Any questions on that cover-up idea? I mean, you can always put in 0 and go through all that, but like, it's just unnecessary, okay? So the cover-up. All right, so let's use this real fast for this. I'm going to change my thing here. Okay. So to find the x-intercept, I'm going to cover up my 5y. So 3x equals 15, what's my x? Yeah, 5, right? So, oops. So I will write out my work real fast. So we got that, we got x is 5, right? So I'm going to go on my x-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because remember that is at the point 50, okay? Don't lose sight of that. All right, so then for my y, what's my little mini equation for y? If I cover this up, yeah, 5y equals 15. We divide. So what's my y? Yeah. So I get a point at 0, 3. So on my y-axis, I put my point right there. I've got 2 points. I can connect the dots, and there we go. And we've got a line. So here's what's also kind of nice from this. If you take the time to graph it, could I also write a slope-intercept form equation from this? I could. I have my y-intercept, right? Could I find my slope? Yeah, totally. I can count. It's going to be -3 over 5. Okay? All right. I want you guys to try B on your own for a second. What's the visible thing in front of the x? 1. Good. Okay, go and so it's kind of nice with the x one. you just cover up the negative 2y, right? That goes away, so x equals 6. And then 6 divided by negative 2 gives you negative 3. Any questions on either of those? All right, real quick, match the equation to what kind of a type of equation it is. So point slope form, which one does that match with? 1, 2, or 3? 3, good. And slope intercept form is 2, good. And so they by default, good. All right, flip the page, let's do a story problem. Okay. So Hannah will spend $150 on music festival tickets. The reserved seat tickets cost $25 and general admission is $10. I don't know what concert or festival is that cheap, but whatever. I didn't make this up. It should be like $250 for the reserved seats and $100 for general admission. That's more realistic, but that's okay. So this one is a little bit different because, I want to go back to my lightsaber here. So we have a total. It's like she will spend $150. And then we have reserved tickets versus general admission. So we basically have like two variables this time going on. So I've kind of laid it out for you guys. Well, the textbook did. So if X is the cost of the reserved seats, it's 20, well, that's... I don't really like the way that's worded, but whatever. So it'd be $25 for every reserve seat plus $10 for every general admission, and then our total for our budget. Does that setup make sense? We have two different things that we're putting together for our total. All right. So the meaning of the x and y intercepts. I'm not even asking you to find the x and y intercepts. I'm asking just for the meaning of them. So we'll just do the x and then the default, the y is the vice versa of it. Whew. Okay, so our x-intercept meaning. All right, so guys, I need your attention back up here, please. So, all right. So the x-intercept. So basically, to find the x-intercept, hey guys, I would put 0 in for y. So if I put 0, hey gentlemen, so if I put 0 in for y, that means how many general admission tickets am I getting? 0, right? And I'm getting only reserved seat tickets if I'm doing the x-intercept, because it's saying that I'm getting only these and none of these. So whenever I'm asking for the meaning of an x or y intercept, it's all of one and none of the other, always, okay? So for this one, our x-intercept meaning would be how many reserved seats she can get for $150. And I'm going to put in parentheses to remind myself, no general admission tickets. Okay. And so the y-intercept would be the vice versa of this. It would be only general admission tickets and no reserved seats. Okay? All right, so this you try we're gonna do together. Well, kind of. So Leon is sending a care package to his brother overseas. He wants to send 64-ounce container of his brother's favorite 2 candies. One candy comes in 2-ounce packages, and the other comes in 8-ounce packages. So let's go ahead and write an equation, because I want you guys to be able to do that. So what do you guys think the equation would be? What's my total? Okay, so I know it's 64. Okay. And that's in 64 ounces, right? So I'm dealing with ounces of things. So what are my two things that have to do with ounces? Yeah, my 2 and my 8, right? So it's 2 ounces per whatever kind of candy that is, plus 8 ounces per whatever kind of candy that is. So it's my two different types of candy, are my X and my Y. Okay? All right, so let's graph this. So let's find our X and Y intercepts. What would my X intercept be? How would I do that? Yes, it was 64 divided by 2. Yeah. So 64 divided by 2, what do I get? Yeah, so 32 is my x-intercept. And I am going to remind myself it's 32 comma 0 is that point. So I'm going to go on my x-axis, go to 32, put my point. So what about for my y-intercept? Yeah, 64 divided by 8, which is, yeah. So I have 0, comma 8, so I'm going to put that on my graph. So notice they're on the x and y intercepts, okay? They're on the x-axis for the x, the y-axis for the y. So let's talk about the meaning of this line here. Yeah, not bad. All right. So what this line is telling me is different possible combinations for the two different types of candy to spend or to use up the 64 ounces. So the brother could buy 0 of one kind of candy and all of the other and be able to put in 8 ounces. Or I could go over here and have 8 ounces of one and about, 6 ounces of another. I could go over here, if my points are correct, 16 ounces of one and 4 of the other. And so all of these are just different combos that we could do of the candy, okay? Yeah, and that's all I'm kind of asking for, okay? Any questions on that? All right. Your assignment is the next 3 pages. So let's look at that for just a second, just to kind of, so go ahead and go to pages 19, well, page 19 right now. It's a long assignment. All right, so 1 through 6, I want you to do, so notice that 7, 8, and 9 are crossed off. That means you don't have to do them, okay? And then I want you to do 10, 11, and 12. Honestly, if you just do the cover-up method and do your dividing, it's going to go pretty fast. Only one of them is going to have any decimals. The next page, you're going to quickly graph them. Again, if you just cover up and divide, it shouldn't take you very long. It's the story problems on 21 that are going to take you just a little bit more bit of time, okay? So if you use your time well, you could get through a good chunk of this before the end of class. You guys have got 20 minutes.